Welcome to Gold Derby's production design panel with Emmy nominees. I'm David Buchanan, here today with Glenda Rovello from Frasier. Glenda, much of your career has been spent doing multicam comedy and multicam sitcoms. What do you love most about that genre?
It's very quick. It's very fast paced. And I came from an architectural office where I would spend months on like a quarter of an inch of details. So my first show, I think it was a young comedians for HBO. And it was like start to finish, the drawings were like in 3 days. And while I had the drawing skill, I never had that kind of freedom, just like you just put it out there, and it was pretty exciting. It was fantastic in that respect.
This is the much awaited return of Frasier Crane. I know so many fans of that original series have always been wanting to see the show come back and see Kelsey re-inhabit that character. Were you a fan of the original show when it was on? And did you go back and revisit those episodes when you were starting to put ideas together for what a Frasier in 2023, 2024 would look like?
Um, I would say that, I did see the original Frasier, but not consistently. I think, like either I didn't really have a television at my disposal because there are so many kids in my family, or I was in college where I didn't have a television. But I admired the set design and that the production designer, Roy Christopher. I just thought he was so immensely talented, and that he really changed the format of the sitcom plan, but also he so elevated the design portion. And you could really see how influential the actual design period was to him. That postmodernism, that man had, he had it down, whether it was the fireplace or the idea of that oversized sofa, and it was like the Coco Chanel sofa from her apartment. It was just fantastic. And that coffee table, I don't know if you remember it, it had those huge balls, holding, that held up the wood slab. It was such a fantastic period piece.
And you had some great experts from that original series on this. Of course, Kelsey is intimately familiar with that original set and that character. And you had James Burrows directing again a few
Right.
of the episodes. How much input did they have when you were doing those very first initial, sketches or ideas or conceptualizing of what a new Frasier apartment would look like? And we'll dive into detail of what you've come up with for the new apartment. But how much input did they have? How much did they want to kind of give you ideas, and how much did they want to let you do your own thing?
I've worked with Jimmy Burrows, for, probably 250 episodes of television, if not more. So, and in those episodes, like, I started Will and Grace and then so many pilots with Jimmy. So I kind of understand what he looks for in a physical set. And conceptually, there were many voices that I discussed the concepts with. And Frasier was moving to a new city, and there were a few like needles to thread. It had to be a building that his firefighter son could inhabit. And then Frasier buys the building. So I had to, and it had to be close to Harvard. So I just kind of looked at the building stock, the architectural stock in Boston and close to Cambridge. And I found some buildings that I thought were interesting. And then I also wanted to find a building on the back lot of Paramount so that if we ever went outside, I could have a pretty close match. So, those were like, that kind of defined what the era was of the apartment. And then the interiors were totally up to supporting the character in that, like we knew that that Frasier, he is he cares a lot about things and design and objects. So we tried to have some overlap with the original, his original Seattle apartment, while the architecture changed radically, the design, choices, I thought were kind of consistent. This is a person who really cares about design. So we, had some of the pre-Columbian pieces, some artifacts from his travels, through, the interim 25 years, 30 years. And then the current design choices, I went with Porter Taleo, which is the people who did the Rorschach looking ink spots. So, and those were created for us. And then the furniture, because in the original show, they always wanted to see and say, so we have to have the real things. And so, like, I really can't do a Coco Chanel sofa because it would have to be the real one. So we tried to select pieces in a very short time frame that we could elevate. And like, we did use some Kelly Wearstler fabric, and we did have a ceramicist. This is like one of the Easter eggs in the set. They're the pendants that are right in front of the staircase, and there's two, and they were created for us. And they're Morse code. One says Frasier, and the other one says Kelsey. So that's one of our Easter eggs. And then everything else, like um, their original pieces, like the brutalist wall pieces or ceramic pieces. Those are the real deal. And the writers wanted to say Christian Lacroix, and so we had to get their permission and their pillows. So that happened over and over. Mario Bellini, they wanted to say things, so we had to get the real pieces.
Yeah, the episode that you're nominated for is Moving In, which is a really terrific installment where Frasier is now decorated the apartment and Freddy's moving in with him, and they're clashing over their, sensibilities and what Freddy wants to display and what Frasier, has established as his aesthetic. When you read that script as a production designer, how exciting is it to see that design choices that you're making are front and center in the plot line rather than just as a backdrop for the action?
It's very gratifying. It's great. So we're very conscious of our choices and the fact that it may give the writers some additional inspiration. And for Frasier, we actually had a list of the objects that they could refer to and who the author was. So they have their little Bible of designers that they can refer to.
One of my favorite episodes of the season is the finale, the Christmas episode. How fun was it to kind of retrofit that apartment that you spent the season curating with holiday decorations? And of course, there's that, mistake with all of those Christmas trees coming in. It's just an absolutely beautiful set to look at. How fun was that episode for you to do?
Well, it's a whole lot of fun. Even the trees, we had such I don't know if you noticed, but it went from like kind of a traditional tree with lots and lots of lights and colorful, and we went in like two scenes to just white lights, and it became very dreamy. So that was all planned, and we have a really fabulous florist that she does our sets week to week. So yeah, nothing's taken for granted.
Aside from the episode that you're nominated for, are there other sets or episodes from this first season that you're particularly proud of or that stand out in your memory as accomplishments from this season?
Gosh, yes, I think that the bowling alley, that's kind of like a fun exercise in just blasts of color and shapes. So that was very fun. And Freddy's bedroom, I think, is really, I think it's a beautiful small space. And I love how that it's the colors are so deep. It really provides a really intimate envelope for our actors. Uh, Gosh, we just finished our second season, so those are the sets that are, most current, and we just finished like a few days ago. What else happened the first season? Gosh, I wish I had a better memory, but apparently I don't.
Well, you can always go back and revisit the episodes. They're all terrific. Glenda Rovello, congratulations on the Emmy nomination and the first season of Frasier. Thank you for talking to Gold Derby today.
Thank you.